to GOSA GH TV. My name is Antonia Krapa Asari. I'm here today to have a discussion with Major General Kwame Henry Anyidoho, stating. You, Mogbadoga.
Yeah,
did you know?
Mondi, yeah, from
Ado.
the view. Yeah, done, yeah.
You do. Akba.
Yeah, was
You. Agba na mi va boa ye jimba mi asron viara cho like odio bakpla fia na wodo tree afi na vado afi agba anya jijona mi kata agba ba mi va tu nto ta madakuku makenya Henry Kwame Anyidoho.
Akpe. Atoni agba majima ado ezone opole odo hatio. Baby varo nyapoma. Le tanyigwe afia. Gba ma de mo na obe tobi nye ine ejifufo nye afio jima. Anglo towe eto alakple. Kake eva tanyigwe afia. Abama Juruwa edua le 19th century. Afi eva ji fufonyo da da ya nyidu ya moto. Ko afi eva zo apanami. Ta na bia mu la fishi afi ta yingbe to munye. Ta mo no abia ba nu ka to anyido ho afi be so ta yingbe a. E mo de na mana wala pe anglo to yimi atowi ka eva chi afi jifufonyo ha jimi tamie subore vodon la fia be anwo to wona so ojima be fia ko magro be pebla nyi over yi le July fanga ka wie tolia gbe le 1940 que me va avalia ngoni we ma machi le du ya mala fia fo yin kle danyo ofunye nkonye tati kojo Anyidoho danye nye Victoria afwa komla danye adu ya motowe so nene mai nye jotope afi mava achiva jesuko gom tayingba fia yeme de gom jesuko la afi eva yide ema odogola gbala dre mai form 4 ema va yide Kwando Technical Institute, emi yone emai. Alo Kwando Trade School, emai odo Technical School at 30. What the school of my baby no, jinu yene. If you have Jova the Takradi Technical Institute. If you have a main professional course in electrical installation works, have you ever got a soldier? Le yesukude de goma ya magbere ne makwie takradi ma wunuro e ma no takradi la e pa mamlama ye ma apply to join the army then ye soja le ma vadu le pa akpare kala fa sheke lo adevore kema.
Oh, okay. So how was life in the army?
Very tough. Army life is not an easy life. The training is really tough, but it makes a man out of you. Yes, in the military academy, which I had an opportunity to command, there was one thing we put there at the entrance to the school. You arrive at here as a boy, you will go out as a man. That was a welcome message to you. But I joined as a soldier, went to recruit training center in Kumasi, finished training and joined the signal corps, communication, study electronics. And worked for about 3-4 years before I was recommended to go to the military academy to train to become an officer. You know, so I passed through various stages. As a soldier, I was a technician. which gave me an opportunity to go to United States of America. First time I traveled overseas. And those days, to get on an airplane, to go to overseas, it was not a joke. And that was what attracted me to join the army, because there was an advert in the papers. Two things that attracted me to join the army. The advert said you were going to be recruited to be trained as a technician, and you will go to overseas to continue the training. Secondly, when I was in my last year in school, there used to be a radio program for Ghanaian soldiers in the Congo. The one they now call DRC, Congo DRC. It used to be Congo, I think, Leopoldville, the Belgian Congo.
Okay.
So they were playing music for listener's choice for our troops in the Congo. That's it, for the Ghanaian troops. Every Wednesday, that program came on Radio Ghana. I said, I will join. This woman must be doing a very useful work, trying to save lives. And I think that also propelled me again, because I found myself doing a lot of this type of job when I finally joined. But when I became an officer, I did a variety of jobs in the army. You know, jobs that young officers do, like an adjutant, which means you are a secretary to a commanding officer, like a motor vehicle officer, it means you are looking after all the vehicles that are under the control or command of that unit. You know, there were a variety of jobs, or they made you a troop commander or a platoon commander, as it will be in infantry units. So you did all these jobs as you move on, step by step, until, and the army has a lot of educational programs. There are examinations that you have to pass, from lieutenant before you can become a captain, and then from captain to major you have to do exams. And as you pass the exams and progress in rank, you are assigned different types of jobs. And I went through all that to the rank of a major before I went to Staff College of U.S. Marines in Quantico, Virginia. After that training then, I was promoted to Lieutenant Colonel. And again, you started taking on different degree of responsibility. You know, it was one of those that sent me to Middle East to serve under an Irish general, Callahan, as a military press and information officer. And when I came back, again, I did a variety of jobs, including public relations, before I went to finally command the military academy, where I had an opportunity to train my own type of officers. Thank God, today quite a number of them are, they wear the rank of a brigadier general. Quite a number of them. They themselves were commenting on it last time that it was like they say on your mask, they said go, and all of them crossed the line. And I feel very proud of them, you know. So it was after the command of the military academy, and then I did other senior jobs at the headquarters of the armed forces before I went to Rwanda.
Okay. Can you please tell us about Rwanda?
I know that's what everybody is interested in.
Yes.
Rwanda was rather a very challenging assignment. We went there just for peacekeeping operations. And to start with, I was not the one going to go. As a colleague of mine, a brilliant scholar of our time, Brigadier General Dubate. Before he could leave, he was taken ill and he had to be replaced. So the Lord fell on me to go. And we were just going there for a normal peacekeeping operations, because those who were fighting had gone to Tanzania, Arusha, Tanzania, to sign an agreement, what we call a peace agreement. Therefore, the United Nations was going to deploy a small force to supervise that agreement from clause A to Z so that they could go in for a democratic government. It was that we went to do. We hadn't finished even deploying the troops when the president's plane was shot down. President Habyarimana on the 6th of April 1964. Personally, I had arrived there in January. In April, we had this havoc on our hand. And people were being killed left, right, center. And you had to do something about it. And we were not many. Small force to supervise a peace agreement. When this killing started, Ghana, Belgium, and Bangladesh, these were the only 3 countries that provided troops for the mission. Belgium and Bangladesh decided to go away. So they pulled out of the mission. So the question was Ghana also going to pull away? And I consulted, I must say this was the way it went. I called the battalion commander who actually had the troops under his command. He left the army as a Major General, Joseph Adinkra, from Okobodumase area. He was a lieutenant colonel at the time, and I asked him whether, I told him, Joe, you know, we came here for peacekeeping operation, but the situation has generated into a whole fighting. People are being killed around us, and I've decided that we are not going to go, we'll stay. I want your opinion. Go and think about it. Because he had a direct command of the troops. I was the senior most Ghanaian officer there. Okay. That's why I was the contingent commander. It means every Ghanaian that was there was under me. But direct command of the troops in the field, he was. So I asked him and he said, sir, if you say we are staying, we are staying. I didn't have to go and think about it. If you have taken a decision that we are staying, then we are staying. Absolute loyalty in the armed forces, and that is very important for you to have your subordinate to be very loyal to you. And of course, then I also needed to be loyal to him and be loyal to the commander set over me. So once he also gave me that assurance, I told the commander who was a Canadian that we were going to stay because Canada didn't have troops there, but the Canadian general had the command of all the forces. So I assured him that we were going to stay. This also happened in, thank God, we didn't lose too many people. And had Ghana also pulled out, of course, it would have been worse. More people would have died. Briefly put, this was what happened in Rwanda. You were there and you saw people being killed and bodies were lying all over the place. Dogs were peeling off the... No, it was not a very good scene. Normally when I talk about it, I become so emotional. And to leave them meant that they were going to kill more. But Ghana, we all agreed. Once the 2 of us, the senior most at the top, agreed. The soldiers came along with us. We did it together. I always emphasize that. From the private soldier to myself, we all did it together. No one person can claim that he did it alone at all. And it became a bond of strong relationship between us, all of us who served on that mission. It's the Rwandese say Amokoro. In the morning, that's how they greet you. Amokoro. And then you answer Mieza. So that's how we greet each other now. When you hear 2 people say that, it means they were in Rwanda together during the war.
Amokoro.
Mieza.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What can you tell us about this beautiful picture here?
This one was in Sudan, the Darfur region of Sudan. Okay. when I left the army, I also served on UN mission in Darfur, to the western part of Sudan, because there was a conflict there. So the United Nations asked me if I was free to go to be deployed there. I had left the army then, so I was a civilian on my own. So they asked me to go there and assist. This picture represents one of the events that took place there. I think our police component did some training for the Sudanese police. And we were presenting, I think, certificates or something to commemorate the occasion. In the field, we do so many things. When I was there, I was the deputy head of mission. I was out of uniform. So I was doing a civilian job. So the deputy head of mission, the police operations also came under my control. You understand that?
Yeah.
It's difficult to... Those who were handling human rights, rule of law, they were all under me.
Okay.
Yeah, they will report to me.
Okay.
Therefore, this event, I had to be present.
Okay. Okay.
So this was not in Rwanda, but in Sudan.
Sudan. Okay.
United Nations flag. Yes. You have African Union. You've seen it?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
UN, African Union. The reason why this was the flag we flew on the mission in Sudan, because the mission was being run by UN and African Union. They called the mission a hybrid mission, UNAMID, UN African Union mission in Sudan, in Darfur.
Okay.
So when I was leaving, all the units that served under me, not even all, those could have an opportunity, wrote some goodbye messages,
lovely,
and give to me as a souvenir.
Okay.
For me to keep for life. So you to any little space you got on it, you wrote on it.
Okay.
I
so
cherish
that
it.
is
Cherish
why we
it so
have
much.
all the...
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's part of my collection in my heritage.
For year contribution to blah 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 mission.
Exactly.
Okay.
All of them have their own expressions.
Okay. Oh, beautiful.
This one says what? Respected, sir, Mr. General Henry, I pray you live long. Your contribution to this mission will be in the rest of us all the rest of our life. Yeah. Things like that.
Yes.
Some of them are even written in Arabic, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw something like that.
Because there were units that were of Arabic background. Yeah.
Wow.
See, I'm sure you know that. That was where I retired from in 2000.
Okay.
2001. March was when I retired from the army after 41 years service.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was my last commander of the Northern Command of the Ghana Army.
Oh, okay.
I love the army. Somebody asked me last time, so if you were born again, I say I'll do the same thing.
Has any of your children followed you?
Sadly, no.
No. What about grandchildren?
They may, because they are now, my first grandchild is a female. She's about 23, 24 now.
Okay.
But she's still in school in the US.
Okay.
Maybe someday. My own children, I have 6 boys and a girl.
6 boys. Wow.
None of them joined the army.
But you laughed that.
If they had wanted to.
Okay.
Because nobody asked me to join. I joined on my own. I expect them also to do that if they wish to.
Okay. Okay. Please, what can you tell us about Ghana Telecom, your experience with Ghana Telecom?
That was one civilian job I did whilst I was in uniform.
Okay.
Yeah. I was still serving as an active military officer when I was the chairman of Ghana Telecom. I went there first as a member of the board. And over a period of time, I became the chairman of the board of directors of Ghana Telecom.
Okay.
I can say this, that when I went there, it used to be P&T, Post and Telecommunications.
PNT.
Yeah. And you know how the employees were calling it?
Yeah.
Poverty and troubles. That's how they translated the P&T.
Oh, okay.
They didn't seem to see any joy in what they were doing. But we transformed it to the extent that there were people coming from universities who wanted to join Ghana. That was the joy. That we were able to change it completely.
Okay.
You know, and we had a split in the telecom and the postal. So it was the telecom side that went private or went public, which Vodafone bought.
Okay.
The postal side is still under the control of the Ghana government. And I must say that I regretted that company being sold, the telecom side, because we had our own engineers, Ghanaian engineers, who worked so hard from a point where we had to go to High Street in Accra in order to talk to overseas, to the point where we started talking on mobile phones. Didn't we do well?
We did.
Why would you lose an asset like that? And we sold that to Vodafone. It's something I will never stop complaining about. You know, it was a government policy at the time. I wasn't anybody to. But we work hard. And for me to see those employees go out of work because the company had been sold, it's not an idea I even want to think of at any time. I saw them go through the process with us, the board, with all the accusations of the woods. And it was generating money for the government. Ethiopia still holds on to their telecommunication. They haven't privatized their mobile telephone network. It's now that I learned they are also being misled to do that. No, you don't do that. You see, telecommunication is like putting a candy into the mouth of a little boy. You know, neko tofi keko denu mene devi, kede afavi.
Okay.
Ya be vivie lebe nume.
Yeah,
Edidan make. That's how telecommunication is. Nele used to a phone day, you get married to it.
Yes.
Tamesha mene gamale shukrala avepli. Why were we going to sell that? Why were we going to do that? I don't understand. You know, because it would have been there making money for Ghana continuously, because we are still trying to penetrate every part of the country. You know, and something we toil to build. I've never been happy about it.
Part of it.
Yeah. And especially for the youth, I'm concerned about the youth because the future belongs to them. Even when I was in the army, my concentration were on schools for my soldiers' children. From kindergarten, I would go from one state to the other to make sure that the children were attending school. Because if we didn't build a strong future for them, their parents were going to go on retirement and then they wouldn't live peacefully. So that was my concentration.
Okay.
I'm concerned about the youth to the extent because when we were young, many of the evil things that happen today have not been happening. Drug was not a common thing during that time. We look down upon it. Now it appears certain parts of society accepts that. Then they have technological developments which are fighting against their interest. One of them is a telephone. Telephone is good, but they don't put examination questions there. you still have to find time to study in order to pass exam. Because they can use a text message and use you to mean YOU. When they set the examination, they don't know how to write. And therefore, the one who is going to mark is YOU is expecting. It's not you. So, and television is another competitor. Too many things on the television, too many channels. So if you don't control their growth, it's not their mistake. This is what they have come to meet. What do we do to make sure that we put them on the right path? Because to administer this country in the future, it's not television which is going to teach them how to do it. They have to study first and be qualified. So that when they are given jobs, they are able to do the jobs well. Otherwise, half-baked scholars to administer a country, that will not be helpful. And they should be loyal. You know, they should try and be respectful to, when I was young, if an old lady and an old man entered a bus and there was no seat, I stood up. That's what we were taught. You give a chance to the elderly person to sit down. They don't do that now. Why have we thrown all those things away? So the advice is that let's concentrate, focus attention on the youth and the children. It's like a church. A church without the youth organization is a dying church. Any organization in life that doesn't look into the future, and the future, we are talking about the children. If we don't plan for that, then we are playing a game that will not take us anywhere. So that's my advice. Don't let us just be complaining about them, that the children are not good. So what can we do to help them to grow well? Because I guess we were also not doing the right thing before. My father said, go back to school, and I went.
Yes.
We should not leave them, you know. We should help them to grow properly. Okay.
Thank you very much.
And I thank you also for coming.
Gospel is grateful to you, sir.
You chased me round. Today we have met.
Yes, sir. That was Henry Kwame Anyidoho, Major General. Yes. We are so grateful to you. We are live on GOSA GH TV. Subscribe to GOSA GH TV. Thank you so much for watching.